Guys, my name's Jocelyn. I'm going to be going over chapter 13, Aging and Personality. One major thing that has changed over the years is life expectancy. The United States life expectancy was over 47 and now it's over 76. Japan and Sweden do have a higher life expectancy rate of 81 years old. There's a quote in the book that states since the 1900s, the percentage of older Americans have tripled over 4.1% to 12.3% in 2001. The proportion is expected to further grow. It may climb up to 20.4% by the year of 2050, about 1 in every 5 Americans. So the first chapter or section of the chapter is about aging and mental abilities. What happens when we age? Does our cognitive function go away? Past studies have been on mental abilities, which include intelligence, learning, memory, and creativity, have given many conflicting answers. The reason that this has a confusion is because human abilities cannot be defined by unitary concept or measured by a single standard instrument. The human intelligence is based on the theorogelists, basis, and impractical measurements. Horn and Donaldson said the intelligence is like the science and theoretical concept. This can be made by logical connections between statements that have to do with intelligence. This can also be made by statements that involve empirical concepts. There are 3 major things that conflict with aging and intelligence. The first is intelligence declines with age. The second is intelligence does not decline with age. And the third one is intelligence declines with age in some dimensions, but not in other dimensions. The next section is about aging and intelligence. The scale that was created, which is called the Westchester Adult Intelligence Scale, was created by David Westchester. This was known to be one of the most widely used intelligence tests. The WAIS, which is abbreviation for that scale, is known to be a test that involves verbal IQ, which includes vocabulary, and a performance IQ, which includes picture arrangement. He claimed that the decline of mental ability with age is part of the general process of the organism as a whole. Westchester made a claim that he based on cross-sectional and compared studies with various ages. He concluded that the age score was between young people between the ages of 20 and 25, and with this age it also declined with age. He also stated that some cognitive abilities were less effective with aging. You were able to determine the age difference based on the IQ test. Age differences were less conspicuous in verbal than in performance. The next section is going to be about impact of aging and learning and memory. Having the ability to obtain skills and information based on what one has learned. How is aging affected obtaining information and skills later on? There are mixed answers, cross-sectional studies, and learning abilities decline after the age of 40. Longitudinal studies, learning abilities decline after the age of 65. This is because of slower pace of learning. The main reason for the decline of learning abilities is declining in health, memory loss, including slowness in response based on your reaction time, lack of motivation, and increase in self-doubt on learning performances. Some learning abilities may not decline if tasks were given with enough time and in a relaxed atmosphere. So sometimes, like say if you were given enough time to do a certain project and you basically would do the project right because you were given enough time, you're not in such a stressful situation, whereas if you're given 2 days to finish a project, you'd be under stress and you wouldn't really do the project the correct way. What about memory loss and failure in old age? Skane and Dwiz says, will the dog remember its new tricks? Remembering to retrieve information which is stored in your memory. Memory is information that is processed and is consisted by 3 things. Adequism, which is encoding, storage, and retrieval. An example for this process is a student's note-taking form, the professor's lecture. First, the lecture is transmitted verbally and is written onto paper. Second, the lecture is down on, so once you receive the lecture and you're already writing it down, then you put it down on paper and now it's on your piece of paper. And thirdly, the file is later then stored either into your flash drive or into your computer desktop or anywhere where you put in your notes. And then so that way you're able to retrieve the notes later on when you do need it. With this example provided above, many things can go wrong. That is, if the student wrote the information wrong, either the lecture was too fast, difficult, and or could have been boring. Older people have problems with this than younger adults, but it is said that it brings around the age of 65. Younger people tend to take in more information quicker than older people. Some studies say that there is not much of a difference in age, long-term memory, but is found in short-term memory, like phone numbers and zip codes. Short-term memory does not change with age. Older people are known to have problems than younger people. Older people have trouble obtaining information for their long-term, whereas younger people don't. There are two ways with retrieving information. The first way is recall. It is where information is extracted the same way it was stored. And recognition, it is affirming the information and the examples that were provided. Some cannot recall the information when it is provided the first time. Dementia is known to be the condition in which one loses their memory and are unable to think and understand information. This does occur commonly. 1 in 20 Americans over the age of 65 suffer from this. It is also seen in young and middle-aged adults. Alzheimer's disease is one of many causes in dementia. Alzheimer's disease has often been diagnosis of dementia, but the symptoms are very different. Some symptoms of dementia include unable to recognize people, places, or items, having a hard time finding words, having a hard time working with numbers or even with math problems or anything that involves numbers or solving them, unable to determine a time or place, and a change in personality. The first most common cause of dementia is Alzheimer's disease. About 20 to 80% of people over the age of 80 in the United States suffer from this. The cause to Alzheimer's disease is still unknown, and there is no cure for it. The second most common cause of dementia is multi-infarct dementia. Infarct means to destroy. This is a series of small strokes which destroy brain tissue and can impair mental functions. This is the most common in people who have high blood pressure and or diabetes. The next section is going to be about aging and creativity. Simpson's 7 Reasons explains, number 1, which one stands achievement in life and is rare if it decreases later on in life. Number 2, if you do not exercise enough and if your strength is not high, it may interfere with your creativity in life. Number 3, the age curve is known to be a career curve. The term late bloomers fall under this. This is where people who start a career or make a decision late in life and are considered late bloomers. They basically made a choice in life rather late but still made it. Number 4, with creative productivity means they have creative potential in their career. These are people who continue to succeed in life after they retire. The number 5 is going to be the creative achievement is influenced with more creativeness. Number 6, higher quality means higher probability. Constant probability of success model. A quote from the book is, if the probability of creative hit in any age period is in more consequences of the number of times the creator takes aim, then in this sense we cannot speak of an age lost at all. Found on page 392. And number 7, final glow, known as swan song phenomenon or last work effect. In the final years of creativity, you see that they compose more at an older age because they have more experiences, so they work with the old and the new. The next section is going to be sociocultural aspects of aging. One of the most important aspects of aging from the sociological perspective is role change. Your role depends on your society. Where and when you grew up determines how your future can be. That is, if you have a job in one town and you switch jobs, your role changes from one thing to another. If your role changes in later adulthood, it is seen as you are losing rather than gaining. So basically, like a father. In your community, you are seen as a father, and in school, you're seen as a student. So there, your role changes in multiple ways, either in your work environment, at home, or even out in the society. Um, because you are making decisions at an older age, you have a higher chance of not getting it done because of age and competition with younger ages. Role change in old age. Number one is role withdrawal, such as retirement, loss of spouse, relatives, and/or friends. Number two, role continuity, such as being a member in organizations and/or involved in your church. Number three is role substitution, such as remarriage, reemployment, or a new engagement in volunteer services or organizations. And number four, role addiction, such as being a good grandparent, a widow, enjoying retirement. Basically, you're agreeing with what is in front of you and you aren't really complaining about it. You're happy with what you have. So the next section is going to be disengagement theory. This theory states that it is okay for older adults to withdraw themselves from their society. Elaine Cumming and William E. Henry conducted a widespread survey in Kansas City. They asked the question of, what are healthy, economically secure old people like? They did their research on 279 people who were healthy and those who had no economic worries. The hypothesis they presented was aging is an inevitable mutual withdrawal or disengagement, resulting in decreased interaction between the aging person, others, and the social systems he belongs to. Both Cumming and Henry tested their hypothesis on both qualitative and quantitative changes in their social interactions with other people. They measured role count, in which how many roles they played in their life, interaction index, how they interact with others, goal structure shifts, their goals in life and in death, their participation in their religion, life space with their age, like how amount of space they've had in their age, how old they've become. They claim they found the answer in subjects who had disengagements in attitudes and shift with age, readiness for disengagement. Societies need to understand that when older people retire, they are giving those jobs to the younger people, in which younger people need to understand what the older people did. When the older people retire, they are preparing for the afterlife. Older people need to understand and prepare for the afterlife. Multiple problems in disengagement theories are: one, older people were limited, meaning there were not many healthy elders or stable, meaning economically. Number two, there was little evidence in adulthood. And number three, the wanting of withdrawal. Now, the next section is activity theory. This is known as an implicit theory of aging. This proposes when adults stay active and maintain social interactions. Four major personality types are integrated, in which they are open, flexible, mature, and mellow. There's three role activities that fall underneath that, in which are reorganizers, who are most active, the focus, engaged in medium level of activities, and disengaged, have high life satisfaction. The second major personality type is armor defended. These people are ambitious and keep tight controls with life. The next one is passive dependent, circumference seeking, meaning maintaining medium levels of activity. Empathetic, have low role activity. The next one is unintegrated, who are disorganized. The next section is problems of aging in the American social cultural context. Most and all societies classify themselves with age and sex and expect different expectations. A lot of Americans are prejudiced by the elders, erroneous stereotypes, meaning ages in nursing homes, who are unable to adapt to change, bored, lonely, live alone, live in poverty, irritated, and or angry. Due to the age, it is possible they have more injuries than younger people. The next section is aging and ethnicity, the double jeopardy hypothesis. The double jeopardy hypothesis talks about the drawback of elderly people who experience the double minority in age and ethnicity. Social characteristics do not explain why racial differences in poor health are greater than in older ages. Many studies have been made, but there is still no results to determine if they are concluded or not. The next section, which is the final section, is aging and personality from cross-cultural perspectives. Simmons was first to conduct a cross-cultural study on aging, the role of age in primitive society. He found that women in hunting societies had more property than men. Cowgill and Holmes, the study was to see the impact of industrialization, modernization, and urbanization. Researchers propose that a higher level of modernization can lead to lower social status for the elderly. Clark and Anderson had 5 adaptive tasks of aging. Number 1, recognition and limitations. 2, readjustment in physical and social space. 3, substitution of alternatives, sources of need satisfaction, reassessment or said evaluation criteria, and reinterrogation of one's values and life goals. To conclude this chapter, aging and personality should be studied from different perspectives like individual, variation, cultural values, social structure, and social change. Thank you, and I hope you like my video. Bye.